everybody, and welcome to our first workshop for CodeQuantum. Thanks for being here at our Navigating a Hackathon as a Beginner workshop. We have Amy Lee with us who will show us how we can navigate through this hackathon journey together and make the most of our time this weekend at CodeQuantum. Amy earned her bachelor's degree in computer science and during college was the executive and marketing director at Hackathon. She now works as a software engineer on full stack and front-end web development, and also has an interest in user experience design. Amy is very well versed in hackathons, so feel free to ask her questions throughout the talk. We will also have 10 minutes at the end of the talk to address any lingering questions. So everybody, please join me in giving a warm welcome to Amy.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining. And I know you're all probably here because you're a beginner and you're wondering, well, what do I do here? What happens at a hackathon? So yes, welcome to my workshop, Navigating a Hackathon as a Beginner. I'm Amy Lay, she, her, hers. As you can tell from here, from what I mentioned earlier, I am a software engineer. I used to also be in Hacklahoma, and I was a executive director and marketing director. So basically that just means like I helped organize stuff for Hacklahoma at my university, which was University of Oklahoma. And I actually graduated from there last year as well. I was also a former designer at Asterisk, which is also a hackathon organizing company. And I am an aspiring plant mom. I don't have many plants, I'm trying. But and I also enjoy binge watching cat videos. Yes, my favorite. So, what are we doing here? What is a hackathon? What in the world is a hackathon? Yeah, I asked myself that question too when my friend told me about this, like, 5 years ago. And at first, I had no idea what to expect, but here is the definition that he gave to me, which is this. It is a hackathon is best described as an invention marathon. So anyone who has an interest in technology attends one to learn, build, and share their creations over the course of a weekend in a relaxed and welcoming atmosphere. And you don't have to be a programmer, and you certainly don't have to be majoring in computer science, this is from Major League Hacking, which is a pretty big hackathon, I guess, type of hackathon organizing kind of company as well. And you've probably seen them around a lot, especially in the hackathon community. So what does this all really mean? So essentially, you're coming together with other people interested in technology to build something, to build a project that solves some sort of solution. Or even if it doesn't solve like a real life solution, it pushes you to learn something about technology and be able to share that with others who are also, who are also interested in growing their skill set, and as well as, being able to uh, meet other people as well who have the same interests. And again, you don't have to be a programmer. I've met people who went to hackathons that were pre-med majors and had no idea how to code. And I've certainly met many non-computer science majors like electrical engineers, chemical engineers. People like that come here because they're genuinely interested in technology, and they genuinely see something about it that would help them grow as an individual. So that's what you're here for. That's what you're here for at this hackathon. So what can I expect while I'm here, while you're here? Well, there's a lot, but we can go through like a typical schedule you'd see at most, if not all, hackathons. So there would be an opening ceremony where the staff would greet you and, just get to tell you what the rules are, guidelines are. This would also be a great chance to talk to some of the sponsors that are helping sponsor the event as well. And they might have some challenges that you could potentially work on during the hackathon. And then after that is usually some sort of team formation and a lot of brainstorming. So I know some people, they form teams before the event, which is totally fine. But for the people who don't have a team beforehand, this is a great time to, get to meet new people and kind of come out of your comfort zone a little bit and try to make a project with them together. And again, brainstorming, you can always come to a hackathon beforehand with an idea, but if you don't, this is also a great way to meet people that might have similar interests as you or might have a sort of similar skill set as you. And finding out what kind of project you want to make, what kind of solution you want to solve, what kind of problem you want to solve, sorry. And then workshops, which are usually throughout the event, like this one. So this one is particular is just to help mainly beginners, trying to figure out, well, I don't really know what a hackathon is. I don't really know what I'm doing. So you come to the right one if you're a beginner. And there's also plenty of other workshops as well that would be helpful, especially if you're wanting to learn a more technical skill. And I know many sponsors as well usually host workshops, to help you kind of get, I guess, a little bit more insight into the technologies that they use and what they do. Many events are also usually throughout the event. I know I saw the schedule and I saw that there was a MS Paint, some kind of Bob Ross MS Paint night, which I feel like those are really fun to do. So those kind of events are really great. It's a kind of like a downtime, have some fun while you're here. And then hacking time, especially this is the most important part, I would say. But yeah, this is when you'll be actually working on your project and, that's the majority of what your 24 hours or however many hours the hackathon will be. And then the project submission, which I believe is going to be tomorrow through DevPost. So that is a really important thing to keep track of. And then after that, once you submitted your project, there would be judging. And this is where you would be demoing your project and letting judges know, like, hey, this is what our project is. This is the problem we're trying to solve, etc. And then after that is usually when they decide who the winners would be. And then that's when the closing ceremony would start and just kind of wrap up everything and celebrate you all being there at a hackathon and, doing something that weekend. And this is also when the winners would be announced as well. So what if you come to a hackathon and you just don't have any idea who to talk to or anything like that? Like you don't have a team. What should you do? So I would say you should try to find a team that is working towards a similar goal, which means maybe there's a project out there, or maybe there's something out there, like a challenge that is available and you think you have an idea, but you just not sure how to flesh it out. So trying to find other people that might be also looking at that challenge or problem they want to solve would be a good idea. Come together and see what you can work on. In addition to that, you should also be aware of the skill set in the team. And by diversifying skill set, I mean you could have people who are doing front end, and you could have people doing back end, and you could have people doing kind of both at the same time and trying to help out different team members, which is great because, I would say hackathons are all about collaboration. That's the best way to do it, honestly. And balancing between experience levels and languages. So usually when I say this, I mean, if you're a beginner, for example, it's best to have teammates that are also beginners or have gone to hackathons, but not like they're not like extremely, they haven't been to a whole lot. They've been to maybe like one or two or three. Like, I feel like those kind of people, they're pretty good at helping lead the team and they kind of have a better idea. So having that kind of balance works experience wise. Language wise, again, you want to have kind of a good balance between having people who are working on the interface, how it looks, front end wise. And then you want to have people who are helping with the logic, the functionality. So for the back end as well. And it's always great to have people who are well versed in both as well, or if not well versed, it's always great to have people who are interested in working in those different types of development. So there's that. Definitely try to don't be. You don't have to be stuck in your own skill set. You can all. It's always. This is always a good opportunity during hackathons to diversify that as well. And then lastly, like, what do you want out of this? I know some teams, they come into hackathon because they want to win. They want to win a prize. And that's totally fine too. But the whole point of a hackathon is you want to come out of there learning something new, something different, something you don't learn in your lectures. So kind of determine like what do you really want out of this? Do you really want to win and like find a team that is set on that? Do you want to find a team that is okay with just, hey, I want to learn this, and then do you want to do this with me? Then that's totally fine too. And then if you want to do both and you want to kind of push yourself to learn something new and try to see if you can win, that's totally great too. So yeah, these are all things I would say you should look towards to in terms of like how you want to make a team and how you want to find team members. And so this kind of goes for everything, but if you're stuck on something with your team or you're not sure what to do, you should definitely ask your mentors for help in particular. Like maybe you're not sure about an idea that you have for your project or you're not sure about something technical wise, definitely ask your mentors or ask the mentors at the event. Sponsors, they would be able to help out, be with challenges, especially clarifying what they want. And also talking to sponsors is a great way just to like kind of get your foot in the door, but also, um, kind of increases your chances of being able to have more insight in the challenge and having more potential to possibly win a prize. And then always, as always, you should ask your CodeQuantum staff in case you have any questions about, just anything in general. So yeah, that is one thing I wanted to mention as well. Okay, so yeah, now that you have a team and you kind of have an idea, but you're not really sure, so you have no idea what to make, well, what I would say in the brainstorming wise is try to think about what you want to do. Again, what I said earlier, what do you want out of this? So do you want to learn a new language? Is there a new framework that you want to learn? Perfect. Maybe maybe that's something that you could work on with your and as a member of your team, and then other people might be doing something else as well. Does the hackathon have a certain theme? So, for example, here it's very clearly a Halloween theme. So maybe you have some sort of spooky looking concept of a project and you just have to figure out like how it's going to relate to something, uh, whether it just be like a game or something, or it could be related to a challenge, etc. Something like that. Are there category prizes? So maybe there's something for like best design or best beginner hack or something like that. Again, that's a good way to kind of figure out, okay, well, maybe we can work towards this and then just kind of figure it out along the way. Sponsor challenges. I feel like sponsor challenges or any kind of challenge like that they provide are great ways to work towards something because they usually have a specific kind of, not specific, but they usually have they want some sort of solution that is geared towards their challenge. So, for example, if it's social good, then maybe, oh, maybe it could be something social good for my local community, or maybe for a certain region of the country, something like that. Those are options you could think about. Again, work towards some sort of goal. And along with that, the solution doesn't have to be totally unique. I've been to plenty of hackathons where I've seen similar looking projects, but they're also very different at the same time. So they kind of have like similar solution, but they not similar solution, but they kind of have the same idea of using this, maybe like this framework or this language or something like that, this technology to create a uniquely to create another solution that, you know, it doesn't have to be completely unique again, but it shouldn't blatantly copy other projects either, because that is actually very bad. Don't do that. You may get called out. Just kidding. But yeah, just, you know, try to come up with something different. But, you know, if it's something that people have seen at other hackathons, then just make sure that you're not actually copying that. So yeah. So how can I make my first hackathon experience worth it? I know many people who come into hackathons for the first time. They either love it, or they hate it. So I want to give advice to make sure that you enjoy your experience, or at least get something out of it, if you know, so that you might think about attending again. So, pro hacker tips. Okay, my number one tip is get sleep. I don't recommend you ever staying up or ever pulling an all-nighter for one. Um, it's just not worth it. So try to get some sleep if you can. Even if it's just like a couple of hours, that would do. But just get sleep. Take breaks, especially during hacking. You don't want to be hunched over for 24, 36, however many hours of the hackathon, just working on it nonstop. You want to take breaks, make sure you're eating your meals, or maybe take a snack break or whatever. Um, you know, take a walk outside for a little bit and then come back, because this actually, you know, this helps freshen your brain. And you know, you can come back to your desk or wherever you are with maybe something that, you know, you didn't think about while you're sitting down, but if you went on your walk or you went on your break, oh, maybe this would work, this might help. So take breaks. Teamwork makes the dream work. So yes, again, don't be afraid to ask around to form a team. I know there are some people that come to hackathons that talk or not talk that work on a project solo, which is fine too. But you know, it's better to work on a team, because it's the collaboration aspect of a hackathon is what the collaboration and learning aspect of a hackathon is really what makes it a hackathon. So yes, don't be afraid to ask around. And then participate in a workshop and mini events. Not saying that you always have to do this, but I would say as a beginner, they are there are vast amounts of knowledge out there, that are being taught during the workshops, or the workshops especially if it's something that you're interested in. So I would say you could have a team member or two attend, or you could have your whole team attend. Really depends on into these workshops. And then mini events, I would say these are fun to attend, if whether as a team or individually. I just think it's a fun way to take a break as well. So yeah, consider those like a break, and also like fun time during the hackathon. Just kind of like goof around or whatever. And then project wise, plan how you're going to demo your project. But what I mean by this is you kind of want to practice what you're going to say. You want to determine if the whole team is going to be speaking on the project, or you'll just have one person speaking and maybe one person just like moving the slides around, or one person doing the demo. Like, figure out how you want who's talking and what you are going to talk about. be sure to do that and plan beforehand. Okay, and then ask for feedback and be open to new suggestions and ideas. What I mean by this is for the feedback, you want to be open to what mentors, sponsors are saying, and just anybody who is helping with your project, be open to what kind of things they suggestions that they have, even if it's something that you've never done before. So maybe think about that a little bit. Plan realistically. You're not expected to have a polished product by the end of it. No one comes out of a hackathon with like Facebook or Twitter or whatever. So don't think that you have to have something that has so many features like that. Just something that gets straight to the point. Here's a problem I'm trying to solve. Here's my solution. Done. And I could have done more, but you only have 24 hours. So plan realistically. Learning is the number one goal here. So even if you don't come out with like a perfect project, as long as you learn something new about how you develop or learned a new skill, whether that be another language or framework, etc. As long as you come out of this hackathon with knowledge about something different, that already sets you apart from many other people who don't go to hackathons or many other people who don't work on stuff outside of school. And then lastly, this is a really important point. Please submit your project anyways, even if it's not complete, even if it's not perfect. This is very important because, this puts you out there, and this is the whole point of the hackathon is you worked 24 hours on this project. You might as well just show it anyways, even if it's not perfect. At least you tried, and the judges will see that. And that's already, that's already brave enough of you to put yourself out there. And along with that, don't forget your deadline. Don't forget to submit on DevPost at the right time. So that's all I have to say for now about it, about coming to a hackathon as a beginner. But if you have any questions, feel free to let me know. I'm open to questions right now. So yeah, let's get started on that, if there are any.
Yeah, so I'll give everybody a second to go ahead and put some questions in chat. You can ask anything. So I actually have a question. What was your first hackathon and what did you make?
Oh gosh, I'm trying to remember. It was Sparta Hack 2017. Yes, Sparta Hack 2017 in Lansing, Michigan. So that was a 36-hour hackathon, which was very tiring. That was my first one. So yeah, imagine coming to like your first hackathon and like you're having to stay up 2 nights. And I'm like, oh gosh. But yeah. Anyway, so there we had actually two projects. Well, one was kind of more like one team members, but the other was all of us were working on it. And that project was an Alexa skill. So that project was so there is a software called Blender. It's a 3D modeling software. And so with that, we were able to use an Alexa skill and talk to Alexa to create stuff in that software just by some voice commands. So you could say like, "Oh, Alexa, build a or make a rectangle or make a prism or whatever," and it would make that just with a voice command. So that's what we did for our project there. And that was a lot of fun because I had never worked with any sort of, I guess, voice technology like that. I mean, I was just completely mind blown because I was still like a freshman or sophomore at that time. So, yeah, that was my first project. Very interesting.
Yeah, that's a really cool first project. We actually have a question from Kelly. Kelly says, when you are a part of a team, how does everyone combine their code to make a finished product?
That is a very good question, Kelly. Thank you for asking. So what people usually do is they would use GitHub. If you don't know what GitHub is, basically what I can say is that it's a way for you to combine all of your code, as in there's a repository that contains all of the code, for example, and then you can have branches off of within this repository. So you could have your own branches. So like Amy, Janelle, another team member, and then you can combine that into one branch. And then through that, you kind of make sure to see what conflicts and what does, and resolve that. But yeah, look into GitHub, look into Git. That will help out a lot.
Perfect. And yes, we have a Git and GitHub workshop actually at 6 p.m. So if you want to tune into that, that'll go over that. We have another question from Cody. So can projects generally be anything, like a game or a blog?
So I would say projects should be, so there should be something technical. I don't know if a blog would count unless you're making the blog, like as in you're creating the blog with your code. But other than that, a game works. Um, I would say apps are usually commonly seen, like web applications or mobile applications. Stuff like that's commonly seen. There's also projects that are hardware based, but since it's a virtual hackathon, it's kind of hard. But yeah, usually that's what they are, like mobile applications or web applications, websites, etc.
Perfect. And we have another question from Casper. What environment do we need to present the project? Can it be in the form of a Linux script? I only know Bash.
Yeah, good question. Honestly, the environment doesn't really matter. I would say if you really want to win something, though, it's best to have some sort of interface. So if you have a Linux script and then it does something, that's totally fine. Uh, just make sure like you're explaining what your solution is to the problem that you're trying to solve.
Thank you so much, Amy, for answering all of those questions. It is about time for opening ceremonies to start. So I just want to thank you again for speaking at CodeQuantum and giving us all of these useful tips for first-time hackers. So thank you so much, Amy. That was very useful.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for having me.
And then I also want to tell our hackers that if you have any questions like this throughout the course of the event, we have mentors and organizers that are ready to help you 24/7. Reach out at any time in the Ask an Organizer channel or the Contact a Mentor channel in Discord. And now it's almost time to get started. So we're going to go ahead and head over to opening ceremonies. An announcement should be in the Discord, and we will see you there. Thanks, everybody.
Bye, everyone.